Okay, I am back. I'm going to be sending this out. How do I need to I need to share. There we go. Copy and paste. Paste, send. Okay, it looks like most people are joining before I sent the message. Hopefully more people will join now. Oh, yay, Gianna, hello. Hello, Emma. Hello, Zach. Seems like the usuals are here. The people that really don't need to be here are the ones watching, but that's just the way it is. So hello, Maddie. Hello, Jay. Howdy, everybody. There we go. We got some people coming back. We're going over the FRQ. Hopefully you have had time to bring up your answers. Hi, Brooke. Hello, Michelle. And we can go over those together. I don't have too much to share with you guys in terms of like other information. I was just going to go over the FRQ because the end of the week quiz still is happening. It's due tonight at midnight. And we might be rolling out assignments differently from now on because of things that like administration is like sending information down, and so next week might look a little bit different. And in terms of like how I roll out assignments, I might basically post everything on like Monday and it's like all due Friday type of thing. And so you'd have to pace yourself as opposed to me pacing you with like, here's today, here's tomorrow, here's the next day. So I don't know if that's something you were going to like more or less, but hello, Anna, Jacob. Hello, Mrs. Taylor. Did you hear the mayor of Las Vegas wants to reopen the city? I guess you could say she's taking a gamble. God. Oh, Jacob. Wow. I miss you guys. That? Jacob Saxetter. Gianna says, are you coming to graduation on July 24th? As far as I know, we should be here. I don't know, because usually we plan our trip to Michigan around graduation and around like other things, like availability of the house that we stay at. But I don't know when we're going to Michigan. So I hope to be here for graduation. But if we are in Michigan, I don't know. Probably we'll be here. Gianna says, boy, y'all gotta go. Yes, I also got like a message the other day that was all like, Powder Puff starts soon. And I remember Gianna made me put it into my phone so I wouldn't forget. And I didn't. I did get the message that Powder Puff was happening. Okay. Emma, I know we probably should be there, but we usually go to Michigan so soon in the summer, like June 10th or something. We get there so quickly that the water's so cold we can't even get in. But if we get there in July, after like summer has really warmed up the water, we could potentially enjoy the beach much more than we normally do. So there's that. Okay, let's talk about the FRQ. I hopefully brought it up. Wasn't prom tomorrow? Oh, is prom tomorrow? April 25th? I don't know. Was prom tomorrow? The girls, I'm sure, would know. Jay, I'm sure the girls have that like seared into their brain. It was. Oh, yeah, unfortunately. Hopefully no one bought like their dress already. I'm sure they did. I'm sure some people were like, oh, yeah, I did. But, oh, Kaylee, yeah, you did. Oh, that's unfortunate. Okay, well, you live and you learn. And that just goes to show you that you can't, things go according to its own plan, not necessarily yours. Okay, so let's go over the FRQ. So let me it was non-refundable. Hopefully somewhere it wasn't too expensive. And maybe it's one of those dresses that you can cut the bottom off of and like make it into a fun dress and like a party dress versus like a formal prom. And shoes. Well, maybe well, yeah, now you have fancy clothes for all the times that you need to dress up formally. Okay. SPO might throw a dance at school. At the school? When? In July? I know that they're still going to be doing like a top 10% and the what is it called? Yeah, they're doing the senior event still, the award ceremony, and I forget a couple of, the picture, the big like 2020 picture, whatever. Okay, so there's that. But that's not going to be until like July. So, okay, seriously, we're getting to the FRQ. So pause the conversation. Oh, Emma says, yeah, they sent an email to parents yesterday about an indoor prom or outdoor carnival. Is it like outdoor carnival or outdoor carnival? Like very like what is it in Brazil? They do carnival. Okay, so let's seriously get to the FRQ, and then we'll be done basically for the day. It says, assume that a country's economy is currently in equilibrium along an upward sloping short-run aggregate supply curve. Suppose that the country's central bank conducts an open market sale of government bonds. A, using a correctly labeled graph of the money market, show how the open market operation's sale of bonds affects each of the following. This part A is worth 3 points. So look at your answer. Hopefully you brought it up in front of you, or you have like a hard copy of it that you wrote on. There's 3 possible points here. 1 point is labeling your graph correctly. And here's how it should have started, where we have interest rates on the y-axis, quantity of money on the x. You could have just put Q. That would have been fine too. Money demand is downward sloping. Money supply is completely vertical. And you've got your equilibriums labeled. That's 1 point. An additional point is how that affects money supply. And the third point is how it affects the interest rate. Well, the Federal Reserve is selling bonds. It says the sale of government bonds. Selling bonds is contractionary monetary policy. So money supply is going to shift to the left. So that's our second point of money supply shifting to the left. And our third point is having higher interest rates on that graph. So point 1 is labeling it correctly. Point 2 is a leftward shift of money supply. Point 3 is higher interest rates shown between equilibriums, between the first interest rate and the second interest rate, higher interest rates. Okay, so that's 3 points. This on B, it says, indicate whether the interest rate you identified in part A, double I, was real or nominal. Well, if you know how to like label your graph, you know that on the y-axis of money market is nominal. So now we have B is just 1 point, and it's just the word nominal. Nominal interest rate. Okay. On C, I really like the question of C. I think this might have tricked up a couple of people, but it's really not that difficult of a question. It says, under what condition would the nominal interest rate differ from the real interest rate? Does anyone remember this equation? I'm writing it. Anyone remember this equation? Real interest rate is equal to the nominal interest rate minus expected inflation. Yes, yay, you guys remember. It's the Fisher equation. The Fisher equation. And this equation is what is referenced on part C. It says, under what condition is nominal different than real? Well, they would be equal to each other if expected inflation was 0. Because then it would just be like it's minus 0 here, and then it would be real equals nominal. So the reason that they'd be different is if expected inflation is not 0. That's the answer here. If there's inflation, if expected inflation is not 0, If it's negative or positive, then these two would be different because you'd be subtracting it from nominal. But like if it's not zero, then they're different. But if it is zero, then they're the same. So how would they differ from each other? If the expected inflation rate is anything but zero, then they would be different from each other. That was 1 point as well. So B was nominal interest rate. That was 1 point. And C is if inflation is not zero. That's also 1 point. Now on D, we're graphing. It says, using a correctly labeled graph of aggregate demand and aggregate supply, show the short run effect on the open market operation on each of the following: real output and price level. Okay, so some people, I guess some people, they started from a gap or whatever, but if you look at the very top of the FRQ, it says, assume that the country is in equilibrium. So we are starting from equilibrium. So on D, we're just drawing an aggregate supply and demand graph, starting from equilibrium, which is 1 point, like labeling. This is also 3 points, just like question A was 3 points. This is also 3 points because you have, what are you watching over there? What are you watching? Sorry, it's a commercial. Okay. So first point on D is a correctly labeled graph where we have price level, Y, or GDP. Everything's in equilibrium. We've got our axes or our lines labeled. And then we have to say how the sale of bonds would affect this graph. I'm going to get like copyrighted if you're over here playing songs or whatever you're doing.
All right.
Okay, so if the government sells bonds, Summer's asking, is answering that question, nominal includes inflated prices, is too vague? Yes, because that's, unless you also said, and real is adjusted for that, because then you're not differentiating between the two, Summer. You're just defining what nominal is without saying how that's different from real. So don't just think that saying the definition of one is telling you the difference between the two. You have, unless you're saying the definition between both of them and saying, well, this one's this and this other one's this thing over here, then that's a difference. But just defining one is not telling you a difference, if that answers your question. Okay, so the second part is like the second point. The first point was labeling your aggregate supply and demand graph correctly. The second and third point is showing your equilibrium changes. So if the government sells bonds and raises the interest rate, then aggregate demand is going to shift to the left, lowering both the price level. So you show price level falling with your boops, and you show GDP falling with your boops. I had to make several comments on people's graphs when I was looking at them yesterday. A lot of people, a decent amount of people were forgetting to write their equilibriums, which I know on this year's AP exam, they're not going to be asking you to turn in your graphs for a grade, but you're going to have to be able to read your graphs, and the boops help you read them, help you decipher what your answer is. And so you need to make sure that you're labeling everything correctly so you know how to answer the questions correctly. Stop. Wait, what are you doing? Hello.
Hello. What does, why is no one talking to me?
Now let's see. Hi, Matthew.
See, it takes a while for it to load up sometimes. It's Gianna says, hey, Matthew. Jay says, hi, Matt. Emma says, hey, Matthew. Zach says, hey, Matthew.
I don't like people calling me Matt.
Oh, well, people are going to call you Matt probably your whole life, especially when you're an adult. They're probably going to call you Matt.
Nope.
You can go by Matthew if you want to.
Yes. Okay. Kaylee says, hi, little Taylor. Gianna says, what's up, bro? Hi, Matthew. What's up? Gianna's talking to you. Jacob says, Matthew, have you heard of the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise? No, I don't think so. Hi, B. Matthew. Hi. He's not heard of that. I don't think so.
Talk
What's your
about
favorite
Star Wars.
Matthew?
Talk about.
I said that once.
You already said that.
Yeah, but they don't know. You told my students.
Yeah, but I changed my mind. It's not that Revenge of the Sith again.
What is it?
The Force Awakens.
Yeah, that's
The
a good
Force.
one.
That's a good one. Okay.
Or the Rise of Skywalker.
Okay. All right. I'll see you later. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. This whole is derailed. All right. Everybody's leaving, even the dog, and they're gone. Okay. The quote was Star Wars. No, I don't know. Okay. Back to the FRQ. All right. E. Episode 3. He's only watched it maybe once. Episode 3. We have to cover his eyes during the lava scene because no little kid should see someone burning alive. That's just, once you see it, you can't unsee it. Ugh. Okay. They're throwing things. Okay, so on E. Correctly labeled graph of the Phillips curve show how the open market operation will affect in the short run. Use an arrow to show the direction of change. And then you have to show like what happens to unemployment and what happens to inflation. Okay, notice how it doesn't say long run. You could have drawn the long run Phillips curve on here as well, but since it didn't say like draw a short run and long run Phillips curve, it just said like show what happens in the short run. You didn't have to draw long run Phillips curve. If you wanted to, that's fine. They're just not going to take any points off or anything. So 1 point obviously is having it labeled correctly. So I'm just going to draw a short run Phillips curve. So here's it labeled correctly: inflation, unemployment, short run Phillips curve, and an aggregate demand shift is going to create a movement. And aggregate demand went to the left. And so there's going to be a movement downwards. And it says show with arrows. So you need to be making sure that you actually show with an arrow. It's not saying label it 1 and 2 or A and B. It's showing with arrows. So this is the second and third point here. Second point is showing a change of inflation. A third point is showing the change of unemployment. And it's a downwards movement on the Phillips curve. Oh, it's over Anakin. I have the high ground. Oh, yes, I guess I have seen those memes. How could you possibly lose if you have the high ground type of thing? And last but not least, letter F, identify a fiscal policy action that would offset the real output and price level that you identified in Part D. So if you have Part D, real output, which is GDP, real output fell and price level fell in Part D. Right? So we need to offset that. A lot of the time, I get this question a lot, and I'm sure no one here is going to ask this question because you guys are relatively smart. So they always ask, like, what does offset mean? Offset means like counteract. It means to like 1 step forward, 1 step back. So to like cancel out, basically. Why was Part E worth 3 total? I believe so. I believe Part E was worth 3 total. Labeling correctly, and then unemployment and inflation change. Sorry, I didn't say that. And then Part F is only 1 point, but you could have had multiple answers here. Part F says identify a fiscal policy action. Well, there's 2 fiscal policy actions that you could choose from: taxes or government spending. And you're trying to offset this. Well, this is contractionary. If output falls and price level is falling, that's contractionary policy that was done with monetary. What would offset that would be expansionary. So you need to say something about, you don't have to say expansionary policy, but you have to say what type of policy, like what type of fiscal policy is expansionary. And you could have either said lower taxes, because that's expansionary. That would offset this. That would counteract this and cancel it out. or you could say more government spending. So either lower taxes or more government spending for Part F, because you had to counteract this contractionary by making fiscal policy be expansionary. And that was 1 point. I did not add up how many all points that was, but it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 possible points. So you have an idea of how well you did out of 12. So you should be getting at least, I feel like if anyone got it wrong, or if anyone got any points wrong, they might have gotten Part C wrong and Part F wrong. I thought those were the only challenging parts of this FRQ. Otherwise, it was basically like, graph it here. No, graph it over here. So it shouldn't have been too difficult. Could we have just said expansionary fiscal policy? No. You had to say what fiscal policy action. So you have to give an action of something that they would have done. You can't just say expansionary because it's too vague. You need to be as specific as possible. You could say expansionary fiscal policy, which would be lower taxes or higher government spending. That's fine. But not just general broad expansionary fiscal policy. Are we ever going to do Google Meets? Probably when we start reviewing for the test. I know that Google Meets works a whole lot better than Zoom, like in terms of like bandwidth. It's less choppy and whatever than Zoom is. But last time we tried that Zoom thing, it was a cluster and a half. So I don't know how. Of course, there's only like 16 of you guys watching right now, and not like the 100 that we had the first time with people topless and vaping and whatever. So I trust you guys just in this chat, but not too many more. So yeah, we do Zoom DC for DC English and it works well. We have been told not to do Zoom. Like, we have been specifically told you are not allowed to do Zoom. I don't know if at DC it's like, well, they're dual credit. It's technically college class, and that's what allows DC English. And I'm sure like DC, like US could probably do things that we can't do. But it's never more than 15 people. Yeah, that's the issue. But I think with ECO, I think we're probably going to be at 15 people because, frankly, I feel like I saw like a video the other day, and they're like, repeat after me, and it's like my classes are online. Okay, all together, and it's all like, it's summer, and I'm like, oh no, that's exactly how people are feeling, and it's not. I really don't want you guys to have to take this in college if you already know it now. So yeah. Okay. Where it began, I can't begin to know. What are you talking about, Jacob? But then I know it's growing strong. I don't know what's happening. On TikTok, yes, that was funny. It was in the spring. You're a TikToker now. I browse, and everything I do is private. So I started as a joke, and now I'm very into it. Okay, Jacob, I don't know what y'all are talking about. Jacob and Jay browse. Yes, I lurk. Lurk is the more appropriate of like what's going on. Whatever. It really is addicting. It's something psychological of like snippets, and then the idea of just like, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand. But whatever. So, okay. Any questions, comments, thoughts, ideas, or concerns? Jacob is completely like he's out. He is just weird. Bum 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 bum. I don't know. Okay. Well, as good as I have to go, Brooke, and time goes by so fast because you can't see the time on your phone. Yes, that's the problem. It's like I need to check to see how like Oh, yes. Like, I'm just gonna like look online really quick just to right before I go to bed, just to whatever. And yeah, there's no time on there. And it's a problem. Yes. Next thing you know, it's 1 a.m. and you're like, I don't even know. I don't even know. I don't even know. All right. So I think we're good here. I have to go learn how to install a dishwasher now because our dishwasher broke and I've been hand washing dishes for about a week and they finally delivered our dishwasher and I was like, oh, free installation. And then they're all like, oh, we don't install during the COVID. I'm like, oh my gosh. They left a dishwasher at the end of our driveway. So we had to like move it all in and then unhook the other one ourselves. And then like we have to figure out how to bring this in and like our door space is this big and we have to like put the dishwasher through and it's like this big and the door is this big and it's like pivot and it's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough. So as fun as that's going to be, I will see you guys later Wednesday. We start reviewing for the AP exam on Monday. So very exciting. And oh no. And I will hopefully do you have any spare part? No, they did the same thing with our washing machine. Miss Taylor, I thought you didn't like Friends. I like Friends. I like Friends. I don't think it's as funny as like The Office. I watch The Office anytime. I've just seen, like, I grew up with Friends. I've seen every episode like twice at least. And it's just like, oh, this is the one where they do this thing. And it's just whatever. All right, I'm done. I've had enough talk. As always, go Cougs, and I'll see you kiddos later. Bye.